Alarm, written by Eileen Marshall and read by Edith Ruddick.
Here I am. Oh, I hope you've not been waiting long. Look, there's half an hour before the bingo starts. Let's go and have a coffee, and I'll tell you all about our latest bit of excitement. Mind you, it'll probably be in the papers tomorrow, because I saw a laddie with a notebook and a pencil going around asking questions. But I'll give you, well, what's it they call it? A first-hand account. That's right. Come on. Oh, this table would do. Oh, my, I'm glad to sit down. What a carry-on for the past hour. And I think it was developing into a right party when I had to come away. Oh, I knew you'd be waiting so, and I never like to be late. Here's the waitress. 2 coffees, please. Now, you know old Joe Malcolm, don't you? Aye, that's him. Well, he's been that peculiar lately. Nobody's been able to make anything out of him. Oh, he was always the one for a blether. Whenever he came into the shop for his quarter of caramels, he used to have some right tales to tell. Laugh! Oh, my, he was a right one for spinning them. But this past month or so, well, you know, we've been right worried about him. He's spoken to nobody, and he's dodged us all the time, skiting up to that top flat of his. How he does it at his age, I don't know. Anyway, all he would do was give you a nod and then run for home. He hadn't been in for his caramels. And I mean, if I'd thought he was hard up, I'd have given him the caramels. Well, nobody likes to think that the pensioners can't manage. But Maggie Scott, aye, that's her with the policeman's son and the blue-dyed hair. She says he's managing fine money-wise. She does all his washing, and she cleans his rooms once a week. And she doesn't want to take any money, but he makes her have 5 bob a week. And I know she wouldn't take it if she thought he was leaving himself short. Give her her due. And she tells me that he won the bowling club sweepstake a couple of months ago, and he's that stashed away, so it can't be money. Oh, I can tell you, we've been right worked up about it down the street. Everybody's been worrying, and when they're in the shop, it's always, what's up with old Joe then? And I mean, I couldn't tell them. Nobody could. Oh, it had us all in a tizzy. I mean, we all like the old man. Everybody does. I was honestly thinking he'd gone, well, you know, but queer. However, it's all settled now. Oh, my, for a carry-on. All right, I'm coming to the point. It was like this. I was just counting the takings and getting ready to close up shop when Maggie Scott comes rushing in, wearing a dishcloth and with a face as red as a beetroot. The phone, she yells. Get on the phone. Well, I thought she'd gone mad. But then she says, the police, the fire brigade, the ambulance. So I knew it was an emergency. And I rushed through to the back shop with Maggie on my heels, and I grabs the phone. Which one, I ask her. All of them, she says. All of them, I says. Yes, she says, and hurry up. It's a matter of life and death. It's old Joe is going to jump off the window. Well, that gave me a right turn, I can tell you. So I dialed the emergency number, and I told the police. Maggie Scott interrupting all the time, and they said they'd send someone round right away. After that, we dashed out into the street. You know, I didn't really believe that old Joe would be there, because Maggie Scott's a bit of a blether, and she gets awfully excited about things. I thought he'd maybe been leaning out cleaning his windows or something, and he'd be away back in by the time we got out. But I was wrong. There he was, sitting on that fancy ledge bit that goes round the building. I'll tell you, my heart turned right over inside me. One or two folks standing at our side of the street looking over, but everybody was being very quiet in case they attracted the old man's attention and made him jump. And it looked as if he was still thinking about it, because he was just sitting there with his legs dangling. I don't think he'd even noticed the folk down below, because of course it's, 6 or 7 flights high. And his eyesight wouldn't be what it was. Anyway, Maggie and me stood there looking up, wondering what on earth we could do. "Get a seat," Maggie whispered suddenly, "and we can all hold it out and catch him if he jumps before the police get here." Well, somebody in the crowd ran away to get one, though why Maggie couldn't go for one herself, I don't know. Anyway, she went on hissing, "Bert's gone up to talk to him, and Fred's gone for the minister." She was gripping my arm all this time. I'm sure I'll be black and blue tomorrow. You know, I didn't like to say it, but I didn't think the minister would be much good. It's a bit... Well, Gormless is about the kindest thing I could say, and Joe never goes to the church anyway. It was funny standing there. I mean, there was all that crowd gathering every minute, and yet there wasn't a sound. Even the kids had shut up. Then old Joe suddenly started to bend forward, and the whole crowd grew in a great breath, and the woman that brought the sheet started to shake it out. But I mean to say, if old Joe had jumped from a height of 7 floors, he'd have gone straight through that sheet and probably the pavement as well. Anyway, after he'd leaned forward, he sat back again. And I'm not sure, but I think he had his eyes shut. And I can tell you, if I was sitting on a wee ledge 7 stories up, I'd have my eyes shut, so I would. You know, I've never felt so useless in my life. Standing there, looking up at the poor old soul, thinking that if he was to jump, what could I do about it? Then I saw a face at the window behind Joe, and I remembered Maggie Scott saying that her Bert had gone up to speak to the old man. Well, I just hoped he'd have the sense to go canny. He's a good lad, but he's a bit dim over some things. And I wouldn't have put it past him to startle the old man into falling off by speaking to him sudden-like. However, being in the police, he's maybe trained what to do about folks sitting on ledges. Oh, the police, aye. Well, they arrived then. Very quiet they were. They sort of slid out of their big black car. 3 or 4 of them there was, and they started being very efficient in asking us all questions. But of course, all we could tell them was that old Joe had been sitting there for a while but not showing any signs of jumping, and we told them that he'd been dodging everybody for weeks too. After this, one of them left to go up into old Joe's house, and the others went round telling us that the idea was to be as quiet as possible so as not to attract the old man's attention. Well, honestly, they made more noise than any of us had been doing. And to crown all, the fire brigade arrived. Oh, we heard it coming streets away. The bell, or whatever it is they use nowadays, clanging away like mad. I can tell you, I just shut my eyes and waited for the squelch as Joe hit the pavement. But the only thing that happened was the fire engine drew up and all the firemen leapt off shouting, "Where's the fire?" Well, it took a wee while to get things straightened out, but when they were, we all looked up again. There was Joe, still sitting on the ledge. Only now Bert was hanging out the window talking to him. Well, I couldn't make out exactly what was happening, but it seemed to me that Joe was mad about something. But it didn't look as if he was meaning to jump now. Mind you, I must give the firemen their due. Once they knew what was going on, they fairly got moving, that their great langer swinging up in no time, and a fireman running up it before it had even touched the wall. We started shouting up to Joe when he was halfway up, all sorts of soothing remarks they were meant to be. But if it had been me, I'd probably have jumped to get away from them. Anyway, as soon as he was near enough, he grabbed Joe's leg, and then Joe slapped his hand away. Oh, very annoyed he seemed, and he pointed away along the ledge. We've had a bit of an argy-bargy backwards and forwards for a bit, with Bert joining in from the window. And then the fireman leaned away over and reached along the ledge. I thought he would fall off, I can tell you. And even his mate seemed a bit worried. Well, he must have found whatever it was on the ledge, because when he drew himself back, he handed something to Joe. And he seemed to think it was funny, because we could hear him laughing down where we were. Anyway, He helped Joe onto the ladder and they started down. And when they were about halfway down, sounds like the Grand Old Duke of York, the fireman shouted, "It's okay, it was only his false teeth he was after." Well, for a minute, I thought Joe was going to take a swipe with his foot at the man's head. It was just below him on the ladder and he must have felt tempted. Well, I mean to say, fancy shouting that about teeth in front of all the crowd. Some folks have no feelings. Mind you, nobody laughed. They just watched the old man till he was right down. And when he stepped off that ladder, well, we all cheered like mad. Poor Joe. He was very embarrassed. Oh, Maggie Scott, of course, go all dramatic, and she flung herself at him. Nearly knocked him flat, she did, with her weight, and she cried out, "Joe, Joe, what were you doing?" Well, I mean, we all knew now what he'd been doing. But old Joe took it very well. He sort of patted her on the shoulder, and he told us all that his new teeth had been giving him jip, so he took them out whenever he went into the house. Well, it seems he usually put them in a plastic tumbler on the sink, and today he'd gone and knocked it out the window when he was looking out at something or other, and it landed on that ledge. Just imagine, an old man of 70-odd having the nerve to go out the window at that height. Well, if it had been me, I'd have asked for a new set from the National Health. Anyway, we were all right glad to hear that he'd only been dodging us because of his new teeth. It seems all he wanted to do was get into his house and take them out. Poor soul. Oh, there's nothing worse than a new set of teeth hurting you. We're all getting on fine when Fred Scott comes running through the crowd with the minister, pecking a couple of yards behind. Well, the minister seemed kind of embarrassed when we all stared at him, and he stuttered out something about doing all he could till one of the policemen kindly told him he was a bit late, and all the excitement was over. Of course, Maggie went all genteel then, let go of Joe and went over to the minister, shook his hand, said how nice it was of him to come, as if it was a jumble sale or a coffee morning or something. And then she said we'd all come up to her house and she'd make us all a cup of tea and she'd sure we'd all squeeze in somehow. Well, if she thought we could, we were all willing to try. So we traipsed along to the Scots, and them that couldn't get in stood in the lobby. And I brought some of my cups along from the shop, and all the neighbours brought their own, so we managed fine. And the fireman said it was a change from fires, and the police said it was a change from traffic duty, and soon we had a real party going. Mind you, I was right glad to see Bert Scott standing with his arm round old Joe's shoulders, nattling away to him. Oh, they've always been great pals. I think he must have been feeling cut off from the old lad. Oh, he's much nicer than his mother. Bert Scott, I mean. Oh, not that there's anything really wrong with Maggie. She's just an awful blether. But she can fairly make a good cup of tea. And she can play the piano. She played it so we could all sing any songs we liked. She was never stuck. She just vamped away like mad when she lost the tune. Of course, the police and the fire brigade had to go, but that meant that the rest of us could nearly all squash into the house. Well, when I could get near enough old Joe to speak to him, I told him to be sure and come in for some sweeties. There's other kinds besides caramels, I said, and he gave me a wink. And I told him the place for his teeth was his mouth, and the only way to get used to new ones was to wear them. He said he would, so that should be all right now. My, what a carry-on, right enough. Oh, I was right sorry to come away. Oh, here, we're too late for the bingo now with me nattering on. What a shame. Look, I'll tell you what. Come on back to Maggie Scott's. They'll still be hard at it. And if we hurry up, we could get that bus. We'll not mind the bingo this week. We can go there any time. Come on.
That story, False Alarm, was written by Eileen R. Marshall and read by Edith.